In this lecture, we're going to be learning how to create additional attributes to our objects. I'll go ahead and write our PHP code. And again, we can actually create new class object attributes after we create our object. So it's kind of like a dynamic thing after we create our class and initialize or instantiate our new objects. I'll define our class called person. Sometimes in this case, when we do not want to initialize data or we don't have any data to initialize, we do not have to use a constructor, because what PHP object oriented does is that it automatically calls a built-in structure by default if we don't create one. But having a constructor passing in data that we want our users to fill in, that's a good idea. But for this purpose of adding additional values or attributes, we won't use a constructor at the moment. I'll just leave our class blank for right now. And I'm going to create a new object of our person class. And as we can see in our class, we don't have any attributes related to the class object because we want to define new attributes to our object. So what we can do, of course, like usual, we define our object, which is person. We use our arrow accessor, and we can name our attributes, our new attributes, anything. So I'll just name it first name, and remember, you don't have to use the $sign. The $sign is not required for this part. So when you're adding additional attributes outside of the class, you do not use the $sign, just the name of the attribute you want to have built in. You use the assignment character or the assignment operator to assign a new value by default. Call it JDN. And then I'll just copy this line of code and I'll create another new attribute called last name. And again, as we can see, there's nothing inside of our class person. We're creating these new attributes on the fly after we've created a new object of the class person. Change the last name value to Forte. And after we do that, I'll print out our information or our attribute values. Let's just say first name echo, object name, followed by our arrow operator, our first name, which is our attribute, and then I'll give it a break tag from our HTML. And then what I'll do as well, I'll do person again, followed by our arrow accessor, last name. Okay, but let me do another echo statement here. And of course, like I did first name, I'm going to do this as last name. Okay, so I'll save that. I'll go to my browser. We'll go here. And as we can see, we refresh it. It's JDN Forte with our first name here and our last name here as well. So again, if we go back here and we change those values, let's say Bobby Jackson. Go back there and go back to our browser, refresh it. There we see it, Bobby Jackson. So if we want to add additional ones, let's say new attributes, of course, you just do the same thing. Object followed by our arrow operator followed by the name of the new attribute you want to add. I'll just do 18 for the age, and I'll do the same thing here. I'll just copy this part and just put here for age, and then I'll substitute last name for age, go back to our browser, hit refresh, and there we have it, age 18. But let me format it and put a break, an HTML break tag in between to make the format look a lot cleaner. There we have it, first name, last name, and age, Bobby Jackson and 18. So that's how we create additional or new attributes to our class object.